All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another Green Square Talks Battlebots prediction podcast. So, I bring you episode 10, the fight card. Crazy that we're already 10 episodes into this season. Feels like last week that this season was just beginning, and we're already 10 weeks in, and lots of these robots are having their third fight of the season. There's a few robots here. I believe these are the last two that are to have their second fight, at least between the top 50, not counting like the alternates. So, yeah, so pretty much this one's going to work the same as the previous bunch have. Basically, I'm going to go through each fight one by one, share who I think is going to win this fight, and discuss it a little bit. So, yeah. So, looking at this fight card right away, definitely looks like there are a lot of one sided matchups coming, but I don't see all of these that way exactly. There are some of these fights where I think this is another episode where I think upsets could be looming here, as in, like, the unexpected outcome occurs. So, regardless, I think this should be a great episode, and I can't wait to see it. So, if you like what you see, like and subscribe as usual, and comment down below your predictions for this. I always love hearing who everyone thinks will win each of the fights in the upcoming episodes, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with my predictions. So, and if you're only here for the predictions, basically just to see the fight card or just see what my predictions are, just go ahead and skip to the end of the episode if you don't want to listen to any of the discussion. Totally fine by me, and it's why I put up a separate fight card with my predictions on it at the end of the video. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get underway and start this one off. Riptide and Captain Shredderator is leading off the episode. And my reaction to seeing this happen is wow. That is a hard opponent for Captain Shredderator. Like, I would probably say Riptide is probably one of the worst possible opponents you could give Captain Shredderator. Like, yeah, I think this one is going to be a dominant victory for Riptide right off the bat because Riptide has been looking phenomenal this season. Two quick knockouts against Glitch and Mad Catter so far, and I'm predicting we're going to see another one right here. Captain Shredderator, they are at 1-1 right now. With a started off the season with a loss to Quantum, and then we got a victory over Hijinks. Probably not the most quality victory, if Captain Shredder is to win this fight, Captain Shredder needs to be working at 100% in this fight. And so far, it has not performed that way. Like, in heart, I want Captain Shredder to win this fight. It's my preferred robot between the two of them. Not that I have anything against Riptide or anything. Because, like, to be completely clear, I love the design of Riptide, and I've heard such great things about a majority of the team. And notice I said the word majority right there. Because, like, I do have some problems with Ethan's cockiness and stuff, just to be clear, but, like, because like I've heard from Lars himself that the rest of the team is like most of the majority of the rest of the team is awesome and all that stuff. So, but yeah, regardless, coming back to this fight though, like I want to see Captain Shredder win this one, but I gotta go Riptide on this one. I think a weapon on weapon exchange will almost certainly go in Riptide's favor, and I think Riptide is going to be just absolutely dominant in this one. And I could see a possible deshelling of Captain Shredderator if Riptide gets as many big hits and as what we've been seeing so far during their two seasons. All right, let's move on. Mammoth and Death Roll. So both these robots currently sitting at 1-1. Mammoth started out with a loss to Valkyrie and then got a victory over Star Child. Death Roll started off with a loss to Cobalt and then a victory over Switchback. So one of these robots is probably going to be in a pretty good place to make the bracket, and the other one's probably going to be in a bit more of a hole. Uh, so this one could be a must-win scenario for either robot, just because it just puts them in a safer spot to make bracket if they win this match. So as for this one, that's another one where it's just a bad matchup for one side here. Like I don't think this is a good matchup for Mammoth at least. What Mammoth's almost probably going to try to do here is probably feed that lifter or like feed the material it's got into Deathroll's spinner to try to absorb the impact of Deathroll's hard-hitting vertical spinner, but I just don't think Mammoth is going to last long. Like, I'm picturing a repeat of Hypershock and Mammoth, personally. I think Deathroll is probably the faster robot, uh, probably a little bit easier to drive between them, and I think Deathroll's eventually going to get that hit and topple the structure of Mammoth. That's kind of my big concern for Mammoth in this fight, and why I have Deathroll on this one. I would not be surprised though if Mammoth just comes out of nowhere, though, to be clear, because like Mammoth has always come out of nowhere in some of the more unusual spots, at least. Like, for example, like in 2020, their victories over like Huge and Copperhead. I was not expecting Mammoth to win those fights, but I'm super glad they did. So, yeah, I'm but however though, I still think Death Roll is probably the safer bet here because I think unless if Mammoth controls the fight and can avoid Death Roll from hitting lots of those critical locations, like what I think is going to happen in this, like I think Death Roll is going to take this one because of it. So let's move on. So we got a battle between newcomers for fight number 3. We got Banshee and Emulsifier. So Banshee is currently sitting at 1-1 right now. They start off with a loss to Switchback, but then they bounced back with a win over Valkyrie. Emulsifier, on the other hand, is 0-2 right now with 2 good losses. I'd say they are one of the better winless robots so far. Or like they've got losses over Fusion and Malice, but they were both pretty quality losses because Emulsifier was getting some deadly shots in with that vertical spinner in both those fights and proving that that vertical spinner is just like an absolute menace of a weapon. So, as for this one, and like Multiplyer's definitely gonna be out for blood in this one, just to try to get back on track. Because I think a Multiplier can absolutely make bracket if they can win their next 2 fights. Because those 2 losses were quality ones, and I think a Multiplier. I'm predicting a Multiplier on this one. How I picture this fight going down is I think Banshee will start the fight out pretty well, at least, because I think Banshee probably has the ground game advantage between the two of them. But I think it's going to be a scenario like Mad Catter and Big Dill from the last episode, or Minotaur and Cobalt, where eventually, Multiplier is going to get to Banshee's ground game, cripple it, and then it's like all hell breaks loose from there. Multiplier just starts knocking Banshee around the battle box and starts getting to some of those more important and critical components, basically. If you kind of get what I'm talking about there. So, yeah, reasons like that are why I'm going to go Emulsifier on this one. And I think Emulsifier is going to get their first win of the season. So, well, first win in Battlebots. So, all right, let's move on to fight number 4, Copperhead and Kraken. So, this is the fight I would personally not be expecting to be the Midway Major, but after seeing Kraken's social media post from a little while back, it really does not surprise me actually that's the Midway Major. So basically, what I've heard on Kraken's social media post, this was recapping their recent match with. This was recapping the fight with Lucky, basically, where they were talking a lot about their drive problems. It's sounding like Kraken was able to get those drive issues sorted out. Because it sounds like Rory Mangles, who's part of Team Monsoon, got involved in helping solve that glitch that's been causing them and quite a few other teams issues with their drive. So it sounds like Kraken is going to be mobile is going to have the kind of mobility that we've all been wanting to see, at least, and what's been holding them back in a couple of their fights so far. So I imagine this fight is going to be a lot more competitive than what a lot of people think. However, I'm still picking Copperhead on this one. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Combination that Copperhead has been looking awesome so far. Copperhead's another robot where it's had 2 quick KOs so far. Well, one of them was not a KO. One of them was technically a double KO that resulted in a judge's decision, but a clear victory from them just because of like how explosive it was. So, so Yeah. Copperhead's currently sitting at 2-0 right now, definitely gunning for a high seed. And I think this would be a pretty important one to win because their next fight is Ripperoni, who has a huge amount of momentum going after those victories with Endgame and Hijinks. Kraken's in a bit of a hole, so this could be a must-win fight for Kraken. But yeah, basically why I'm predicting Copperhead for this one. Like I think Copperhead's drum spinner and that low ground game is going to be enough to be able to cripple the front of Kraken. And I think that'll give Kraken struggles when it comes to using that hammer saw and striking blows on Copperhead. So how I kind of see Copperhead just landing hit after hit on Kraken, and I think we're gonna, although while I do think Copperhead's gonna win this by KO, I think we're going to see this fight happen. I think we're going to see a lot longer of a fight than Copperhead's previous two fights honestly put together. Because Kraken's durability, like, even though its mobility hasn't been there, its durability has still been at, like, peak performance from what we've seen the previous few seasons. So I think they're definitely capable of taking the hits from Copperhead. So basically what I'm stating right here is I think Copperhead's going to win this fight, but I think this is going to be an excellent test match of like Copperhead's durability to see can this robot last a full 3 minutes? Can that drum spinner keep spinning for the whole fight? And can it continue dishing out the pain as it has in its previous two fights so far? A lot of questions are going to be answered about Copperhead in this one, and that I still have on that robot this season, and I have Copperhead winning this fight. So let's move on. Fight number 5, Horizon and Shatter. This is an interesting one right here, and a must-win fight for both robots because both teams are sitting at 0-2 right now. Horizon started off with a pretty close loss to Shred It Bro, and then got wrecked by Monsoon. Shatter, on the other hand, started off with have losses to Huge and Beta, two pretty tough opponents. So yeah, both of these robots are kind of in a must-win situation. I like to try to go spicy with a prediction, and this is the fight where I'm going a little spicy on it because I am actually going to pick Horizon for this fight. And I feel odds are probably in Shatter's favor just because that hammer is an absolute beast, and I don't think Horizon's going to be able to get through that armor of Shatter with the spinners that easily. It might take it like I think they definitely could. It just would take like quite a few shots before they can actually like get through that armor. So why am I going Horizon on this fight? Why do I think Horizon's going to win this fight? So basically, from the sounds of it, I think Horizon definitely has a good shot at this one. I think basically what I want to see most in this fight is I want to see Horizon work like how Skyline has worked in previous competitions. And I think this fight with Shatter is one fight where I think they could absolutely prove that it works at least. Because I don't consider Shatter to be one of the faster robots, at least. And I think if they've gotten a lot of those glitches out, I think we could not only see like both horizontal spinners moving, but like the whole arm moving as well. And that's what allows Horizon to get a bigger bite into their opponent and cause a lot more damage than what we've seen them cause in like their previous two fights. I think if they got the time to be able to accomplish all those things, assuming they fixed a lot of the glitches and gremlins from the previous two fights, I think Horizon could have a serious shot at this one. Including also, Horizon is a little more interesting of a robot geometry wise. So I think like I think Shatter could have a hard time hitting this thing, at least with the hammer. Like Adam Wrigley's gonna or yeah, the weapon operator of Shatter, I believe it's Eric who runs the hammer of Shatter. He's gonna need to be on point with his timing, because like it's definitely easy for Shatter to land hits on Horizon, of course. But then I think it's a little bit harder just because of the shape of Horizon. So so yeah, what Shatter's going to need to do is Shatter's going to need to box rush, get up close and personal with Horizon to stop that thing from spinning and to prevent it from doing damage, and then just go nuts with the hammer. But I think if Horizon and works as implied. Horizon could definitely get away from Shatter long enough to get those up to speed, and that's kind of what I'm going for this one. So, yeah. I don't know if anyone else is going to agree with me on this, but I am going Horizon for this fight, and that's why. All right, Ominous and Shred It Bro. And between the top 50, these are the last two robots to have their second fight. And both of them coming off of a fight where they probably need to show a little more. Or Ominous started off with a loss to Claw Viper, who's been looking great so far this season. And then Shred It Bros got a victory over Horizon, but it was not the most quality victory because similar to what I was talking about with Kraken regarding their drive issues, they were also having issues. And it sounds like it was a similar problem that they were having. So hopefully we get to see those drive issues sorted out and we get to see Shred It Bro working the way Evan Arias wants it to. So as for this fight, that's a tough one to call because there's not a lot really to go off of at least for these two robots so far this season. I'm gonna lean towards Ominous so far, because I feel Ominous is kind of like the more tested robot at least, and the big concern about that I have with Ominous in this fight, though, is that if Ominous gets flipped over, while it can self-right absolutely, the self-righter is proven to be very slow. And so Stradbro could very easily come in for another hit and just destroy Ominous. But I think with a head-on exchange, I think Ominous has the advantage to start this one. I think Ominous has the advantage in this, basically. But I can't deny Shred It Bro either, because I think Shred It Bro does also have a fort configuration too, and are very capable of hitting hard with that drum snare. Just seeing what they did to Horizon, and is enough evidence for me with that. So regardless, I think this is a hard one to call, but I think but my guess that Ominous has the advantage with a front on exchange is what's making me lean a little more towards Ominous, as well as the consistency of Ominous between how well it was able to work in the Claw Viper fight, as well as how well it's worked in other competitions that Ominous has competed in. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Ominous on this one, but not sure what to expect at this one, basically. So all right, finally, the main event: Whiplash and Monsoon. Whiplash currently in a bit of a hole right now. This is probably a must-win fight for Whiplash right now. Currently, it's sitting at two losses, but two pretty quality losses in my opinion, because Whiplash did have some moments in both those fights. Yeah, they started off with a loss to Mad Catter, and then recently had a loss to Hypershock. And this sure ain't getting any easier for Whiplash because they got Monsoon, who has looked awesome this season, despite the fact that they're 1-1. And then they got Tantrum, of course. So Monsoon, on the other hand, 1-1. Start off with a quality loss to Black Dragon. At least I thought it was quality personally. And then they got a quick and dominant victory over Horizon for fight number 2. So as for this fight, there's no doubt Matty Vasquez is going to be at his A game when it comes to his driving abilities with this one, because Whiplash could be on the verge of not making bracket this season, and possibly with a loss, they might not make bracket. I think they definitely still have a shot without a doubt if they win that fight with Tantrum, but I think it's gonna I think they have a bit easier of a chance of making bracket if they can win this fight with Monsoon. I think it makes it a little bit like a sigh of relief, basically. So but I think the advantages for this one are Whiplash with its driving abilities. But the reason why I'm going Monsoon on this one is I'm predicting kind of a repeat of Whiplash's first two fights right now. Whiplash's first two fights have all kind of been on a similar pattern, basically. Manny Vasquez started out the fight strong, getting some lifts, maybe a flip or two on its opponent, and start off the fight strong and controlling it. But then as soon as Mad Hatter and Hypershock started delivering hits on Whiplash, that's when things just went completely downhill for the Vasquez family. That's kind of what I'm predicting for this fight. I think it's gonna start off strong for Whiplash. I think Whiplash will get a few good lifts in, maybe do a little bit of damage with the vertical spinner, which you haven't seen a lot of action from this season because I think they've been having struggles with keeping it spinning, as well as the fact that it sounds like moving over to brushless brushless internal wise has been a little bit of a struggle and a bit of an adjustment for them too that has also been causing them issues. But anyway, I think with this one, I'm gonna go Monsoon for this one. Like I really want to see Whiplash pull this one off and bounce back from their 0-2 start and possibly make bracket. Because in all honesty, I think Whiplash is definitely one robot that is kind of like overdue to win the whole thing, kind of, if you get what I'm talking about right there. Like it's a robot that just like keeps coming like so close to making it, but then ends up falling like just short, or at least as for a couple of the seasons they've been in so far this year. But yeah, as I'm gonna lean towards Monsoon because I think eventually Monsoon is gonna start getting the hits that Tom Brewster is looking for and gonna win the fight that way. But once again, if Matt Vasquez is on his A game for the whole fight, this could just be a 3 minute brawl of Whiplash controlling the match, avoiding that bar spinner Monsoon, which Matt Vasquez is absolutely capable of doing. So I think a great main event's on the way, and I'm looking forward to seeing this. So all right then, so let's go ahead and review my predictions. All right, here are my predictions right there. I'm going Riptide, Death Roll, Emulsifier, Copperhead, Horizon, Ominous, and Monsoon for this one. So yeah, lots of big matchups coming down here that either could put some of these robots in a great spot when it comes to making the bracket, and others where it could possibly put them in a hole with a loss, or an even bigger hole for some of these robots. So I think another episode is on the way, and lots of playoff off like lives are like on the line with this one, and definitely we could be seeing some major effects here. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe as usual, and comment down below your predictions. As usual, I always love hearing what everyone comes up with, who everyone thinks is going to win these fights, what people think the outcomes are going to be, basically. So I think another episode's on the way, another great episode's on the way. So be sure to tune in this Thursday for it, or Friday if you have it on, or Friday if you have it on like YouTube or Amazon Prime, like I do. So once again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.